Commander Anna Hayes stood at the observation deck of Earth's first diplomatic vessel, the EDF Peacemaker, watching the massive alien ships approach. Her heart beat faster, but her face remained calm. This was humanity's first contact with the Galactic Council, and as Earth's lead diplomat, she couldn't show fear. "Commander, they're hailing us," Lieutenant Paul Carter said from his communication station. His voice was steady, but his fingers trembled slightly over the controls. "On screen," Anna ordered, straightening her dark blue uniform. The massive view screen flickered to life, revealing a sight that made several bridge crew members gasp. The alien on screen looked like a cross between a praying mantis and a dragon. Its scaled face featured 4 glowing yellow eyes, and 2 sets of mandibles clicked as it spoke. The universal translator took a moment to process its words. "I am Supreme Commander Katar of the Zarkax Dominion. Speaking for the Galactic Council," the alien's translated voice boomed through the bridge. "Your species has been observed since your first nuclear detonation. The time has come for your integration into the galactic hierarchy." Anna stepped forward, her brown hair neatly tied back, her green eyes steady. "I am Commander Anna Hayes of Earth. We welcome peaceful contact with the galactic community." The alien's mandibles clicked in what seemed like amusement. "Peace is maintained through order. Your species will submit to council authority and accept your designated rank within our hierarchy. Resist, and you will be classified as dangerous primitives." The bridge fell silent. Anna felt her crew's eyes on her. Earth's governments had prepared for many first contact scenarios, but an immediate demand for submission wasn't among the more optimistic ones. "Supreme Commander," Anna said carefully, "humanity is willing to join the galactic community as equals. However, we cannot simply surrender our sovereignty without discussion or negotiation." A new figure appeared on the screen. This alien was different. Tall, slender, with silvery skin and large, expressive eyes. "If I may interject," the new alien spoke, its voice melodious. "I am Ambassador Vortel of the Lysarian Collective. Perhaps we could arrange a diplomatic meeting to discuss terms." Katar's head snapped toward Vortelephone. "The Lysarians forget their place," he growled. The humans showed dangerous signs of independence. Their military development rate is unprecedented. They must be contained. Anna watched the exchange with growing concern. The Lysarians seemed friendly, but the Zarkax's hostility was clear. She noticed Vortel making a subtle gesture with one of their 4 hands, a movement that seemed deliberate, directed at her. "We request time to consult with our governments," Anna said firmly. "This is a decision that affects all of humanity." "You have 6 Earth hours," Katar declared. "Accept integration or face the consequences." The screen went dark. Lieutenant Carter quickly spoke up. "Commander, we're receiving the encrypted transmission. It's from the Lysarian ship." "Put it through to my private terminal," Anna ordered, moving to her station. The message was simple but clear. "Prepare for attack. They fear you more than they admit." Anna immediately opened a secure channel to Earth Defense Command. "This is Commander Hayes. We have a situation." She quickly explained the encounter and the warning. "Understood, Commander." General Richard Cooper's voice came through. "All Earth Defense Forces are being mobilized. Get your ship back home immediately." As the Peacemaker turned to head back to Earth, Anna noticed unusual movement among the Council ships. Tactical analysis. Lieutenant Sandra Martinez's eyes widened at her scanner readings. "They're powering up weapons, Commander. Multiple ships breaking formation. They're not going to wait 6 hours," Anna realized. "All hands, battle stations. Lieutenant Carter, send an emergency broadcast to all Earth forces. First contact protocol Alpha 7. This is not a drill." The first shots came just as the Peacemaker engaged its engines. The ship shuddered under the impact of alien weapons, but the shields, designed using humanity's best guesswork about alien technology, held surprisingly well. "Return fire," Anna ordered. "Target their weapons arrays only." Show them we can fight but aren't looking to escalate. The Peacemaker's defensive capabilities shocked the alien ships. Human engineers, working from decades of sci-fi scenarios and theoretical physics, had created systems that could actually stand up to alien weapons. The ship's experimental point defense lasers swatted incoming missiles from space, while their own shots struck with precision. "Commander," Carter called out. "The Lysarian ship is. They're moving to block the Zarkak's flagship's line of fire." Through the viewport, Anna watched the silvery Lysarian vessel position itself between the Peacemaker and the largest alien ship. The Zarkak's vessels hesitated, unwilling to fire on a council member. "Multiple ships detecting near Mars," Martinez reported. "They're attacking the colonies." Anna's blood ran cold. While the Council fleet had distracted Earth's first diplomatic vessel, another group had swung around to strike at Mars. The Red Planet hosted over 10,000 colonists. "Send word to Mars Defense Command," Anna ordered. "Tell them to activate the shelter protocol. And get me Earth Command again. They need to know this isn't just about us anymore. This is an invasion." As the Peacemaker raced back toward Earth, they received transmissions from Mars. The colonies had managed to activate their underground bunkers before the first strikes hit, but the surface installations were devastated. The Council's message was clear: submit or be destroyed. When they finally reached Earth orbit, Anna found the planet transformed. In just hours, the world had moved to a war footing. Old rivalries were forgotten as nations united against an external threat. Military satellites were active, defense systems were online, and the first waves of Earth's small but advanced space fleet were launching. In her final report of that historic day, Anna wrote, "The Galactic Council expected to find scared primitives. Instead, they found humanity. Adaptable, defiant, and unwilling to bow to tyranny. They thought their technological superiority would guarantee our submission. They were wrong. Today, we learned we're not alone in the universe. We also learned that the stars hold not just wonders, but threats. Humanity's response to this threat will define our species' future. But if there's one thing history has taught us, it's that humanity should never be underestimated." As she finished her report, a new message arrived from the Lysarian ambassador. "We have much to discuss, Commander Hayes. Your species has impressed many who dare not speak openly against the Zarkaks. You are not alone in your desire for freedom." Anna looked out at Earth, glowing blue and peaceful below, and allowed herself a small smile. The Galactic Council had hoped to find an easy conquest. Instead, they had awakened a sleeping giant. Humanity would not only fight back, they would change the galaxy forever. The Mars colony's distress signals continued to come in through the night. Emergency responses were coordinated, rescue missions were planned, and Earth's industrial might began to turn toward war production. The first battle was over, but the real war was just beginning. Humanity had entered the galactic stage, not with a whimper of submission, but with a roar of defiance that would echo across the stars. 3 weeks after the attack on Mars, Admiral Peter Richardson stood in Earth's new underground war room, studying holographic displays of enemy ship movements. The room buzzed with activity as military personnel from every major nation worked together, united against a common threat. Lieutenant Christopher Baker reporting as ordered, sir. A young officer with sharp blue eyes and short brown hair saluted crisply. The Admiral turned to face him. At ease, Lieutenant. I've read your analysis of the Zarkak's battle tactics. Very impressive work. Chris relaxed slightly but remained professional. Thank you, sir. I noticed something interesting in the debris we recovered from their ships. Show me, Peter said, gesturing to the main display. Chris stepped forward and brought up detailed scans of alien technology. Their weapons are amazing, sir, but they're not original. See these marking patterns. Each component seems to come from a different species. The Zarkaks aren't inventors, they're collectors. They steal technology from other races they've conquered. This revelation sparked intense interest in the room. Peter stroked his chin thoughtfully. So their technological advantage is built on theft, sir, Chris finished. And they don't fully understand how everything works. That's why their tactics are so straightforward. They rely on brute force rather than technical expertise. At that moment, Commander Anna Hayes entered the war room. Her experience from first contact had made her a key advisor in humanity's war effort. That matches what our Lysarian friends have been telling us, she said. The Zarkax maintain power through intimidation, not innovation. Peter nodded slowly. Then we have an advantage they don't expect. Humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology. It's our ability to adapt and improve. The next few hours were spent developing a new strategy. Earth's factories had been working nonstop, converting to war production. But instead of trying to copy alien technology, they focused on improving their own designs based on what they'd learned. Meanwhile, in a testing facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, Colonel Lisa Ryan watched as engineers tested a new type of shield system. Unlike the stolen technology used by the Zarkax, this shield adapted to different types of attacks, learning and becoming stronger. The test results are incredible, Lisa reported over the secure channel. We're not just copying their technology, we're making it better. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Dr. Keith Martinez, a video game designer turned military consultant, suggested treating space combat more like a three-dimensional chess game than a naval battle. The Zarkax fight like old-fashioned battleships, Keith explained to the War Council. They move in rigid formations and rely on overwhelming force. But space doesn't work that way. We need to think differently. Earth's first real victory came a month later. A Zarkax patrol fleet approached the moon, expecting easy targets. Instead, they found themselves facing ships that seemed to dance through space, using the moon's gravity to slingshot into impossible positions. The human vessels were smaller but more agile, their weapons less powerful but more precise. Lieutenant Baker, now serving on the EDF Defiant, watched in amazement as his tactical predictions proved correct. The alien ships, for all their advanced technology, couldn't adapt to humanity's unconventional warfare. They're breaking formation. His tactical officer shouted, "The enemy fleet is retreating." The news of this victory spread quickly through the resistance network that Earth had built with help from the Lysarians. Other subjugated species began to take notice. Humanity wasn't just fighting back, they were winning. In his private quarters that evening, Admiral Richardson reviewed the battle footage. "Send this to all Earth Defense Forces," he ordered. "The Zarkax aren't invincible. They can be beaten." The response from the Galactic Council was predictable. They sent an even larger fleet. But this time, Earth was ready. The colonies on Mars had been rebuilt, stronger than before, with hidden defenses. The moon had been transformed into a fortress, its hollow interior now housing shipyards and weapon factories. Chris Baker, promoted to lieutenant commander for his insights, developed new battle strategies. "The Zarkax expect us to fight like they do," he explained to his crew. "So we'll do the opposite. When they go big, we go small. When they stick together, we spread out. When they attack head-on, we strike from unexpected angles." The second major battle for Mars proved his theories correct. The massive Council fleet found itself fighting shadows. Human ships appeared and disappeared, striking weak points and vanishing before the aliens could respond. Earth's new adaptive shields absorbed and learned from each attack, becoming stronger as the battle progressed. "They're starting to panic," Anna Hayes observed from the command center. "Look at their formation. It's breaking down." She was right. The mighty Zarkax fleet, faced with an enemy they couldn't simply overpower, began to show cracks in their seemingly invincible armor. Ships started breaking ranks, their coordinated attacks becoming chaotic and desperate. But the real shock came when one of the alien ships suddenly turned and fired on its allies. The vessel's commander opened a channel to Earth forces. "This is Captain Zelrak of the Free Zarkax movement. We've watched how you fight, how you adapt. We want to learn from you." This was unprecedented. A Zarkak ship defecting. The Council's propaganda had always portrayed their species as completely united. This single act of rebellion revealed cracks in their empire that went deeper than anyone suspected. Admiral Richardson made a bold decision. Instead of destroying the defector, he offered protection. "Your courage will not be forgotten," he promised. "Together, we can build something better than the Council's tyranny." As the battle ended, Earth had gained not just a military victory, but a psychological one. The Council's aura of invincibility was shattered. Their own people were beginning to question their leadership. In the war room, Peter Richardson addressed his staff. "Today marks a turning point," he declared. "We've proved that humanity can't just survive in this galaxy. We can change it." The Council thought they were dealing with primitives. Instead, they found a species that could take their stolen technology and improve it. They found a people who could adapt their tactics faster than they could respond. Most importantly, they found a race that fights not just for survival, but for freedom, not just for ourselves, but for all species under their control. Chris Baker added a final observation to his daily report. The Council's greatest mistake wasn't attacking Earth. It was assuming that we would behave like all their other victims. They don't understand that humanity's real strength isn't in our weapons or our technology. It's in our ability to look at problems differently, to find new solutions, and to never, ever give up. The war was far from over, but its nature had changed. Humanity was no longer fighting just to defend Earth. They were fighting to reshape the galaxy. And in the darkness of space, other species watched and waited, daring to hope that the age of Council dominance might finally be coming to an end. Colonel Susan Martinez stood in the shadows of her stealth ship, the EDF Nightshade, watching the massive Council shipyard through the viewport. 6 months of war had taught humanity many lessons, and now it was time to put them into practice. "All teams report ready," Lieutenant Amy Franklin whispered from her tactical station. The bridge crew worked in near silence, their ship running dark to avoid detection. Susan checked the mission clock. In 15 minutes, Operation Thunderstrike would begin, humanity's first major offensive against the Galactic Council. The shipyard before them produced the massive warships that had been terrorizing Earth's colonies. "Remember," Susan said softly to her crew, "we're not here to fight fair. We're here to win." The Nightshade wasn't alone. 5 other stealth ships waited nearby, their new cloaking technology making them invisible to Council sensors. This technology, developed by studying the debris of fallen alien ships, was humanity's newest advantage. "Message from Admiral Richardson," Amy reported. "Operation is green. We may begin at your discretion, Colonel." Susan took a deep breath. "Send the signal to all ships. Start the music." This wasn't actually about music. It was the code name for their first move. On all 6 stealth ships, crews activated devices that began broadcasting false sensor readings. To the Council's monitors, it would look like a small meteor shower was approaching the shipyard. The Zarkak's guards didn't even power up their defense systems. Why would they? Their sensors showed only space rocks, and their shields could easily handle those. This was exactly what Susan had counted on. "Phase 2, she ordered. "Release the drones." Hundreds of small, unmanned vessels slipped away from the stealth ships, hiding in the fake meteor shower. These drones, barely larger than space debris, carried a surprise inside them. The shipyard's shields flickered as the first meteors hit them. The guards remained unconcerned until the drones activated. Each one released a special computer virus, designed by Earth's best programmers with help from their Lysarian allies. "Shields are dropping," Amy reported with a grin. "They don't even know why." Now came the dangerous part. The 6 stealth ships decloaked simultaneously, appearing at different points around the shipyard. Before the surprised defenders could react, waves of fighters launched from the human vessels. The Council had never seen anything like these fighters. Instead of copying alien designs, Earth's engineers had created something new. The small craft moved like angry wasps, darting through the shipyard's defenses with incredible speed and agility. This is what happens when you let video game designers help plan your space battles, Susan muttered, remembering the controversial training program that had prepared her pilots for this mission. The Zarkax finally began to respond, but their reactions were too slow, too predictable. They tried to form their usual battle lines, but the human fighters were already inside their formation, striking critical systems with surgical precision. Council reinforcements detected, Indy warned. 3 heavy cruisers approaching from the far side of the planet. Susan smiled. Right on schedule. Signal the Lysarian fleet. They may proceed. This was the part that would shock the Council most. As the Zarkax reinforcements approached, a fleet of Lysarian warships appeared behind them. The Lysarians, secretly allied with Earth for months, had been waiting for this moment. Ambassador Vortel's voice came through the command channel. The Lysarian people stand with Earth. The Council's tyranny ends today. The battle that followed was short but fierce. Caught between human stealth ships and Lysarian warships, the Zarkax reinforcements never had a chance. The shipyard, one of the Council's most important military facilities, fell within hours. But the real victory wasn't the destruction they caused. As the battle raged, special teams boarded the shipyard's central computer core. They downloaded everything: construction plans, fleet movements, and most importantly, communications with other subjugated species. "Colonel," Amy called out, "you need to see this. The data we're getting. There are at least 12 other species waiting for a chance to rebel. The Council's empire is held together by fear, and we just showed them that the Zarkax can be beaten." Back on Earth, Admiral Richardson and Commander Hayes reviewed the mission footage with growing satisfaction. Operation Thunderstrike had achieved more than just a military victory. It had sparked hope throughout the galaxy. "Look at these messages," Anna Hayes said, pointing to the decoded communications. The Centaurians, the Proxima Alliance, even some Zarkax colonies, they're all asking about Earth's resistance methods. In the weeks that followed, the impact of Operation Thunderstrike spread like wildfire through Council space. The Zarkax responded with brutal crackdowns, but this only pushed more species toward rebellion. The Council's attempt to make an example of Earth had backfired spectacularly. Susan Martinez and her crew received a hero's welcome when they returned home. But she knew their success came at a price. The Zarkax would be back, and they would be angry. "Let them come," she told her crew during the debriefing. "Every time they attack us, we learn. Every weapon they use teaches us how to build something better. They've spent thousands of years taking technology from other species. We're showing the galaxy something new: innovation, adaptation, and the courage to fight back." The human-Lysarian alliance grew stronger each day. More species began secretly sending representatives to Earth, eager to learn humanity's methods. Earth's factories worked around the clock, producing not just weapons, but hope for a galaxy that had lived too long under the Council's shadow. Lieutenant Amy Franklin summed it up best in her mission report. The Zarkax thought they could break humanity's spirit with their first strike on Mars. Instead, they created something they never expected: a resistance movement that spans the galaxy. "We're not just fighting for Earth anymore. We're fighting for every species that has ever suffered under Council rule." In his private quarters, Admiral Richardson studied reports of growing unrest throughout Council space. The Zarkax were facing something they had never encountered before: an enemy they couldn't intimidate, couldn't outgun, and couldn't predict. An enemy that fought not just with weapons, but with ideas. "Send word to all our allies," he ordered. "Phase 2 begins now. It's time to show the Council that the galaxy won't be ruled by fear anymore." As news of Operation Thunderstrike spread, more ships arrived at Earth: refugees, defectors, and representatives from worlds that had been silent for generations. They all came with the same message: humanity had done the impossible. They had proved that the Council could be beaten. The war was entering a new phase. The Zarkax were no longer fighting just Earth. They were fighting an idea that was spreading across the stars. The idea that freedom was worth fighting for, that tyranny could be overcome, and that even the most powerful empire could be brought down by those they thought weak. In the shipyards orbiting Mars, Susan Martinez watched as human and alien engineers worked together, combining their knowledge to create something new. This is how we win, she thought. Not just with weapons, but with unity. Not just with strength, but with hope. The galaxy was changing, and humanity was leading the way. The Council of Space Warriors would never be the same. Captain John Reynolds moved his hand slowly over the strange symbols carved into the ancient wall. The underground chamber, discovered beneath the surface of a distant moon, held secrets that could change the course of the war. "This is incredible," he said to his team. "These markings match the ones we found in the ruins on Mars." Dr. Linda Cooper, the team's archaeologist, nodded excitedly. Both sites were built by the same species, the precursors. They vanished 50,000 years ago, but their technology was far beyond even what the Council has today. The chamber hummed softly as more lights activated, responding to human presence. This was why John's discovery was so important. The ancient systems only seemed to work for humans. "It's our genetic diversity," Linda explained, checking her scanner. The precursors designed their systems to recognize certain DNA patterns. Humans have the most genetic variety of any known species. We're like a key that fits all their locks. Back on the command ship EDF Liberty, Admiral Anna Hayes listened to their report with growing interest. A year of war had changed her from a diplomat into a military leader, but her mind still worked in diplomatic ways. "If we can activate precursor technology," she said thoughtfully, "we could unite the free species under one banner. The Alliance needs a capital, a symbol of hope." The Alliance of Free Worlds had grown quickly since Operation Thunderstrike. 27 species had now joined Earth in open rebellion against the Council, but they needed something to bring them together, to make them stronger than just a collection of angry rebels. "Admiral," John's voice came through the comm system, "there's more. These ruins aren't just a building. They're a control center. The precursors built a network of defense platforms throughout the galaxy. If we can activate them, we could protect whole star systems." Anna finished. "Get everything you can from that site, Captain. I'll inform the Alliance leadership." The news spread quickly through the rebel fleet. The Council had spent thousands of years looting precursor ruins, but they had never been able to activate the most powerful systems. Now humanity, the newcomers they had dismissed as primitives, held the key. Meanwhile, in another part of space, Lieutenant Commander Chris Baker led a different kind of mission. His ship, disguised as a Council freighter, was making contact with underground resistance groups on conquered worlds. "The Council is losing control," he told his crew as they approached another secret meeting. "Their own people are starting to question them. Even some Zarkax colonies are asking to join the Alliance." The meeting took place in an abandoned mine on a dusty outer world. Representatives from 6 different species gathered to learn Earth's combat techniques. Chris had done this many times now, teaching others how to fight back against their oppressors. "The Council relies on fear and overwhelming force," he explained to the group. "But space is vast, and their fleet can't be everywhere. Hit them where they're weak. Disappear before they can respond. Make them waste resources chasing shadows." One of the aliens, a tall crystalline being, spoke up. "But their technology is superior to ours." Chris smiled. "Was superior? Look at this." He activated a hologram showing the latest Alliance ships. Human engineers worked with experts from 20 different species to create these. "We're not just copying Council technology anymore. We're making something better." The new ships combined the best ideas from every member of the Alliance. Lysarian stealth systems, Centaurian power cores, human adaptive shields, and weapons designed by cooperative teams from a dozen worlds. No 2 ships were exactly alike, making them harder for the Council to counter. On Earth, the changes were even more dramatic. The planet had become a center of galactic culture and innovation. Alien students studied at human universities, while human scientists worked in laboratories with beings from across the galaxy. Earth's cities now featured architecture from 100 worlds, creating something entirely new. Admiral Peter Richardson stood in the new Alliance Command Center, built inside an ancient precursor facility that John Reynolds' team had activated. The massive chamber allowed leaders from all Alliance species to meet and plan together. The Council made a crucial mistake, he told the gathered representatives. They spent thousands of years forcing everyone to be the same, to follow their rules and copy their ways. But true strength comes from diversity, from bringing different ideas together to create something new. An alert flashed across the main display. The Council had launched a massive attack on 3 Alliance systems simultaneously. But this time, they faced something different. The activated precursor defense platforms sprang to life, their ancient weapons still powerful after 50 millennia. All Alliance fleets, move to support positions, Peter ordered. Show them what unity looks like. The battle that followed proved everything the Alliance had been working toward. Ships from 24 species moved together like a single organism. When the Council tried to adapt to one tactic, their opponents switched to something completely different. The diversity that the Zarkax had scorned became their undoing. In his ship above the battlefield, John Reynolds watched the precursor platforms turn the tide. They built these systems to protect younger species, he told Linda Cooper. Now, after 50,000 years, they're finally serving their purpose. The Council fleet retreated in disorder, leaving behind damaged ships and shattered pride. This defeat was different from earlier ones. It showed that the Alliance wasn't just surviving, it was growing stronger. Anna Hayes addressed the Alliance Council after the victory. Today marks a turning point, she declared. The Council thought they could keep us divided and weak. Instead, they forced us to come together and become stronger than they ever imagined. Chris Baker, watching from his ship in a distant system, added a note to his tactical database. The greatest weapon humanity brought to the galaxy wasn't our technology or our fighting spirit. It was our ability to bring people together, to show them that differences can be strengths. The Alliance continued to grow. More species joined each day, bringing their own unique contributions to the cause. The Council's empire, built on fear and uniformity, began to crumble in the face of unity and diversity. John Reynolds and his team kept finding more precursor sites, each one adding to the Alliance's strength. But more importantly, each discovery helped them understand why humans could activate these ancient systems. The precursors didn't disappear, Linda Cooper realized one day, studying their records. They seeded their DNA throughout the galaxy, letting it mix with other species. We're not just finding their technology, we're fulfilling their plan. They wanted the galaxy's species to come together naturally, not be forced together by conquest. As the 4th year of war drew to a close, the balance of power had shifted dramatically. The Alliance of Free Worlds was no longer a rebellion. It was becoming the dominant force in the galaxy, and at its heart was Earth, showing the way to a future where diversity was celebrated, not suppressed. The final battle was approaching, but the outcome was already becoming clear. The age of the Council was ending, and a new era of cooperation and innovation was beginning. The galactic core glowed like a sea of diamonds against the darkness of space. Admiral Anna Hayes stood on the bridge of the Alliance flagship Freedom, watching as the largest fleet ever assembled in galactic history moved into position. 5 years of war had led to this moment. All fleet groups report ready, Commander Chris Baker announced from his tactical station. His original insights about Council technology had helped bring them to this point. Now he would help end what he had started. The target was New Zarkax, the Council's capital world. Not just a planet, but an entire system of artificial structures built around a massive space station. This was where the Council had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years. Message from the Lysarian fleet, Lieutenant Amy Franklin reported. Ambassador Vortel says they're in position. All allied species are standing by. Anna nodded slowly. The fleet before her contained ships from 40 different species, each bringing their own unique strengths to the battle. The Council's worst nightmare had come true. The galaxy had united against them. "Signal all ships," she ordered. "Operation Freedom begins now." The first wave of attack came from human stealth ships, led by Colonel Susan Martinez. They slipped through the Council's outer defenses using technology that combined Lysarian cloaking systems with Earth's innovative designs. Primary targets identified. Susan's voice came through the command channel, beginning electronic warfare attacks. The viruses and hacking programs that had worked so well in Operation Thunderstrike had evolved. Now they carried code written by programmers from a dozen worlds, each adding their own tricks and techniques. The Council's defense networks began to fail. In the Council's command center, Supreme Commander Qatar raged at his subordinates. "How dare they attack us here? Launch all ships. Crush these rebels." But the Council forces were not the same as they had been 5 years ago. Too many of their best ships and crews had defected to the Alliance. Those that remained were divided, uncertain, their confidence shattered by years of defeat. Captain John Reynolds, commanding the science vessel Discovery, monitored readings from the activated precursor defense platforms. The ancient weapons had been positioned throughout the core systems over the past year, waiting for this moment. "All precursor platforms are online," he reported. "The Council can't see them yet. They're about to have a very big surprise." The battle unfolded like a deadly dance. Council ships moved in their traditional rigid formations, while Alliance vessels flowed around them like water. Years of working together had taught the allied species how to combine their different tactics and technologies. Council reinforcements approaching from the outer systems, Chris Baker warned. Anna smiled. "Right where we want them. Signal the Centaurian fleet. They may begin Phase 2. The Council reinforcements found themselves caught in a trap. Hidden precursor platforms activated behind them, while Centaurian warships emerged from concealed positions. The Council forces had nowhere to run. In the heart of the Council station, something unexpected was happening. Junior officers, many of them from younger generations, began refusing orders. The Council's iron grip on power had always depended on absolute obedience. Now that was breaking down. "Admiral," Amy called out, "we're receiving transmissions from inside the Council station. Multiple groups are requesting to defect. They want to join the Alliance." The revolution that had been brewing for years finally erupted. Council forces found themselves fighting enemies both outside and inside their stronghold. Inspired by Earth's example, species that had been oppressed for generations rose up against their masters. "All Alliance ships, press the advantage," Anna ordered. "But remember, we're here to free the galaxy, not destroy it. Accept any surrenders offered." The space around New Zarkax filled with battle. Alliance ships moved with perfect coordination, using tactics that combined the best ideas from every member species. Human adaptability, Lysarian stealth, Centaurian power, and dozens of other strengths worked together as one. In a desperate move, Supreme Commander Qatar ordered his personal guard to activate the Council's ultimate weapon, a massive energy cannon built into the central station. But when they tried to fire it, nothing happened. Looking for this, Dr. Linda Cooper's voice came through on all channels. She and her team had infiltrated the station months ago, posing as maintenance workers. "We found the control codes in the precursor archives. Your weapon belongs to the Alliance now." The battle lasted 12 hours. When it ended, the Council's capital had fallen. Supreme Commander Qatar and his most loyal followers were captured trying to flee the system. The war that had begun with an attempt to force Earth into submission had ended with the liberation of the galaxy. Anna Hayes walked through the Council's Grand Assembly chamber, now filled with representatives from every Alliance species. The massive room, once a symbol of oppression, would become something new. The meeting place for a true galactic federation. "The war is over," she announced to the gathered beings. "But our real work is just beginning. We must build something better than what came before." Not an empire ruled by fear, but a federation built on cooperation and mutual respect. In the years that followed, the galaxy changed in ways the Council could never have imagined. Earth became a central hub of commerce and culture, where beings from thousands of worlds came to learn and work together. The combined knowledge of 40 species led to advances that would have been impossible for any one race alone. Chris Baker, promoted to admiral himself, often trained young officers from different species. Remember, he would tell them, our strength isn't in our weapons or our technology. It's in our ability to work together, to combine our different ways of thinking into something new. John Reynolds and Linda Cooper continued their work with precursor technology, but now they had help from scientists across the galaxy. They discovered that the ancient species had left behind more than weapons. They had created a legacy of knowledge meant to be shared by all. The Zarkax themselves, freed from their old leadership, began to change. Young Zarkax learned to value cooperation over domination, and their natural strength became an asset to the Federation rather than a threat to it. In her final speech before retiring, Anna Hayes addressed a gathering of species from across the galaxy. 5 years ago, the Council thought they found an easy target. Instead, they found the key to their own destruction. Not because humans were stronger or smarter, but because we showed the galaxy a different way to live. We proved that our differences don't have to divide us. They can make us stronger. She looked out at the assembled beings, humans standing alongside former enemies, species that had been mortal foes now working together, young officers of all races learning from each other's traditions. The Council of Space Warriors tried to force the galaxy to follow their way, she concluded. They failed because they never understood a simple truth. True strength comes from unity freely chosen, not from unity forced. The human war machine didn't change the galaxy through conquest. We changed it by showing everyone a better path. The chamber erupted in cheers from 1,000 different species, each celebrating in their own way. The Council's empire had lasted for thousands of years, but it had fallen in just 5 years to something more powerful than any weapon: the power of hope, unity, and the unbreakable human spirit. The galaxy would never be the same, and that was exactly what it needed.